Welcome. Welcome to the Robot Rampage League. How's everybody doing today? Hello, chat. I see you all there. Burnout and Razor259 and Tamabris, and I saw BattleBots Boy in there somewhere. How's everybody doing? Oh man, I am actually not having that great of a morning. I woke up and I hurt my back getting out of bed because I'm old. Don't forget Foduck. I won't forget Foduck. You're there too. So, it is week 16 out of 17 of the regular season, which means playoff spots are going to start happening this week. In fact, playoff spots have already happened, but I'm going to get to that in just a second here. So this was the results last week. Aside from HIVE getting shut out and HIVE getting shut out and losing a lot of ground on first place in Division 1, there's not a whole lot to talk about here. We also have our judges' decisions, which were pretty much one-sided. But the standings are the important thing here. We only have 8 fights remaining in the regular season, and the top 4 of each division make the playoffs. I think the maximum number of points that can be earned in the next 2 weeks are 26. 12 points from matches, 12 points from fights, and then 2 for match wins. Heavy Metal is 28 points ahead of 5th place, so Heavy Metal has locked in their playoff spot already. They are already locked in the playoffs. Meta, I think, is only 15 points ahead of 5th place right now, so like Meta could still technically be knocked out of the playoffs, but I don't think that's going to happen. Interestingly, Meta has so many wins, there's not enough fights left for any team to exceed their win total. If the Orlando Commandos do 2 straight shutouts, they tie Meta at 43 wins. They've got that many fight wins, Meta has. What else do I have here? Oh yeah, teams on the bubble. So, in Division 1, Indiana Robotics Alliance has the final playoff spot currently in 4th place. Eeveeon is only 5 points back, and the Mantines are only 8 points back, though. So, that playoff spot is definitely in the works, in the swing, especially because Eeveeon is facing the Mantines this week. So that is there's gonna be a big change there probably. Division 2, there's not really much of a bubble here. It's Team Smash has 4th, Sinister Creations is 7 points back, and then it's like 20-something points back until the next spot. So it's pretty much between the top 5 to decide who ends up in 5th in Division 2. But Division 1, there could be a big swing between 3rd and 6th. We really don't know how that's going to turn out. We also have awards at the end of the season, at the end of the regular season, for the best performing teams and robots. Currently, the number 1 ranked lightweight is X Factor with 32 points, and Voidwalkers in 2nd with 30. Explicit Equation is dominating the middleweights with 42 points. It's the only robot in the whole league with more than 40 points. Drillosaurus has 38 points in the heavyweights. It's 14 points ahead of the next robot. And then id and Aqua Dementia are leading the super heavyweights with 33 and 32 respectively. I also have top 5 most destructive. I'll get to that when we get to the fights themselves. And speaking of the fights themselves, let's get that started. How do the playoffs work, Ryan says. The playoffs are stepladder, so 4th place in each division fights 3rd place. The winner of that fights 2nd place. The winner of that fights 1st place, and we'll get our 2 division winners. And then the 2 division winners fight for the overall grand championship is how the playoffs work. That'll all be in a single stream the week after the regular season. At least that's the plan. We'll see how that goes. But to get there, we still have 2 weeks of fighting to go. So let's get this one going with Stormlab facing HIVE Academy. Rampage, yes, Razor259. BattleBots boy says, let the wars begin. Something like that. Mike, what'd you think of the latest BattleBots episode? I'm going to make my thoughts known on the latest BattleBots episode. Just you wait for that video. So, in the lightweights for our first match, we have Firestarter, an asymmetric horizontal spinner that can self-right. And Hive Academy has Jinx, a side-hinged flipper. Both of these robots are doing reasonably well so far. Jinx has a tremendous number of judges' decisions to its name so far this season. So, leave your predictions in the chat for our first fight between Firestarter and Jinx, please. Hello, lads, says hello, Captain Mantine. Much of the chat leaning towards Firestarter. There's a few going for Jinx. Let's see how it turns out for both of them as we get week 16 of the league underway. Firestarter up to speed. There's a big laggy collision, and Jinx has gotten under Firestarter and tossed it in the air. Oh, it broke Firestarter's weapon off. So Jinx, with that spiked flipping arm, has already mostly disabled Firestarter's asymmetric spinner. It still has that spinning counterweight, which does do damage when it hits, but it does mean that Firestarter is extremely unstable now. And Jinx is struggling to get in there and get its weapon into play because of how unstable Firestarter's being. Both kind of stuck on top of the broken off part of the bar. Ooh, that was a good attack from Jinx there. You can see damage starting to pile up on Firestarter, and there goes the rest of the spinning bar, and now Firestarter is inverted, cannot drive, and this is going to be an easy 2-point TKO for Jinx. And Jinx backs up to break the pin, which is not necessary because Firestarter can't move. So, 2 points to Hive Academy to start. 70-second fight. That was a definitive win for Jinx after quite a lot of questionable judges' decisions. Were they going to actually make it to the end of the fight? And they got a pretty good win out of that one against one of the tougher lightweights. And now we have a Spider-Man pointing at himself meme. This is Sludge versus Gizmo. Both of them are invertible four-wheel drive rammers with way too goddamn much speed, and they're mostly uncontrollable. Sludge is extremely well known for throwing itself out of the arena, sometimes without even hitting its opponent. How do we expect this fight is going to go, chat? Ryan says, double Sludge Fest, neither bot wins. Well, the robot that hits the floor first loses. That's how that works. There's a double Sludge Fest, I'll eat my hat. Everybody just kind of being like, let's have a double Sludge Fest. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be funny. There's a big hit, and Sludge got the upper hand on that one. Gizmo is almost fallen over the wall. It did a front flip off the front of Sludge, who's done a front flip over the wall on its own and lost a wheel now to Gizmo because of its own bad driving. Gizmo trying to line up and got a good ram in on Sludge. Sludge now with two wheels missing because it can't drive properly. Gizmo's gotten three wheels. Wow, look at this. It's going to be a total wheelectomy here if Sludge isn't careful. Sludge made that driving mistake trying to flip over the wall, and Gizmo has made it pay. And as we've seen with these rammers, as soon as they lose a wheel, they lose the ability to ram and drive accurately, and that's basically the end of the fight. Gizmo's lost a lot of its spikes to the front end of Sludge here. So it is still possible for Sludge to win if Gizmo keeps throwing itself into Sludge's weaponry. Oh, but Gizmo going for that wheel and doing a front flip again. They still got to be careful they don't throw each other out of the ring or throw themselves out. Sludge doing what it can to stay in the fight and just hope Gizmo kills itself. We've seen crazier things. There's some control board hits. And the knockout with 142 left. That was actually a rather entertaining fight. Very fast, very aggressive, quite enjoyable. And Sludge got a lot of, or not Sludge, Gizmo got a lot of damage points out of that one. Gizmo is currently ranked 5th in most damage points for the season for the middleweights. So Gizmo is one of the more destructive middleweights, and he's showing it there. So now, Stormlab is behind with 0 points to Hive's 5. And they gotta hope for something here in the heavyweights. So, Stormlab brings to the heavyweights Microburst, 7 piston, pneumatic piston poking spikes, not invertible. Hive has Mammoth, which has 4 war pick style axes, 2 overhead axes, 2 side axes, also not invertible. I don't think that's going to be a big factor in this fight. Mammoth has shown it to be one of the most tenacious robots in the league. It has put up a hell of a fight in every single match that it's been in, and has come from behind to win a lot of fights while it's been heavily damaged. And Microburst has been getting its butt kicked quite a lot, but it does have a weapon power advantage, I feel. So, what are your predictions for Microburst versus Mammoth? Burnout says shenanigans. Much of the chat favoring Mammoth. Well, let's see what Mammoth can do to Microburst. Or if Microburst can burst Mammoth's bubble. Well, Mammoth got a good hit on the chassis of Microburst at least once, but Microburst is keeping Mammoth at bay for the most part. And getting some good hits to the front of Mammoth. It's taken off one of the axes and some of that front protective armor for Mammoth. Mammoth is getting hits onto those piston spikes, but is taking a huge amount of damage in the process. There's the last remaining side axe off. It's just the 2 top axes. Oh, Physics got angry there. Physics got mildly annoyed, I should say. And the fight continues. Microburst losing those spikes off of its pistons. It's down to, I think, 3. Oh, but it's going to get Mammoth's wheel here, I think. No, not quite. And Mammoth continues to try to chop away. Oh, it's lost the spikes on the right side axe now. It's trying to use its armor for protection, but Microburst gets the KO in 61 seconds. Mammoth just did not have the reach to get through or over Microburst's weapon. And Stormlab have clawed back 3 points, and it is now 5-3. And so now, if Stormlab gets a knockout in the Super Heavies, they can actually win this match. Took the words out of your mouth, Burnout. I don't know what words those were, but yay for me. So, Super Heavyweight time. Uragano for Stormlab, a double vertical hammer spinner. Hive Academy has Hive, a double-length pneumatic piston poker with a lot of defensive features around the front and the rear. Excuse me. Neither of these robots are invertible. I don't know if that's going to be a factor here, but let me know what your predictions are for this one. And Stormlab needs to have a knockout to get 3 points to win the match. Anything less than a knockout, it'll be a draw or a Hive victory. Glitches as far as the eye could see, Burnout says. Quite a few going with Uragano. And lots of Havoc Explosion says Havoc. BattleBots boy. Yeah, Hive is known for those. And Uragano's weapon is pretty tall, so it's definitely going to get to those pistons, I feel. Unless Hive totally stops it dead and gets the pistons into its chassis. Oh, but look at this. Uragano is going to get underneath Hive and lift it up into the air. And flip Hive completely over. And now Hive is defenseless against Uragano. And look at the damage that it's doing to the side of Hive. And that is a 27-second knockout to win the match for Stormlab. And so the currently number 2 team in Division 1 takes another loss. I mean, they got 5 points out of it. It's not that bad, but Stormlab with 6 points and the match victory. So they were one of the teams that's on the bubble in Division... Well, they're not on the bubble. They're 20 points behind the bubble in Division 2, so they needed more points than that, but that should move them up the ranks, hopefully. Wasn't expecting that outcome. I know, that was pretty crazy. It's weird how you get, like, completely expected results, but then the Robot Rampage League throws a twist like that in there sometimes. It's really fun. Up next is Team Smash, one of the playoff teams in Division 2 currently, against Pink Chaos, who's competing for a playoff spot in Division 1. So either of these teams could knock the other out of the playoffs, I feel. Up first in the lightweights, Team Smash has Bubblegum, which is a spiked scoop rammer that's not invertible. Pink Chaos has Unprettier, which has an overhead claw weapon. Not invertible, but it can sort of self-right sometimes. Predictions for Bubblegum versus Unprettier. I see Midnight McLeod with the super chat. Hey yo, I'm here. Did I miss a lot? You missed the first match, Stormlab versus Hive. And I'm not going to spoil the result for you if you missed that. I'll let you go back and watch it if you want, unless you want me to spoil it. Unprettier, Bubblegum, Unprettier, Bubblegum. Chat is split, so let's find out who is correct. Oh, Bubblegum, a little bit awkward with its driving, has thrown itself into the grinder and fallen over. And Unprettier is going to come in and get some shots on it and then fall over slightly. It did right itself with its wheels, but oh my goodness, Bubblegum almost got the ring out. That would have been an amazing win. I don't think we've had any rammer ring outs in the lightweights yet. Bubblegum desperately trying to get back over before it settles on its top. Just getting whatever traction its wheels can find. It's lost another part of its spike wedge, and Unprettier might just leave it here. No, it's going to go in for the 3 points, and it's going to get them. 44-second knockout for Unprettier. And that is big for Pink Chaos, who has struggled all season to get a whole lot of points. Never gotten more than 6 points in a match. And that is off to a good start. So we go to the middleweights. Whipwreck kind of rammed something out. Yeah, but Whipwreck wasn't trying to be a rammer. Whipwreck was Whipwreck is a sit and spin thwack bot that just has too much drive power. So, middleweights. Team Smash has Planetary Conqueror, the overhead bar spinner with a tremendous amount of drive power. Pink Chaos has Overthrown, the double front hinged flipper, and currently Overthrown is number 2 ranked middleweight in the league. Planetary Conqueror is not in the top 5 of either the rankings or the destruction damage point totals. So, predictions for Planetary Conqueror versus Overthrown here. Lots of people going for overthrown. Some predicting ringouts. Burnout says Planetary could screw you, Mike. Well, you know what? My robot won last week, so... yeah. Let's get this fight started. Let's see which one has the better wedge here. It looks like Overthrown has the better wedge, but it's exposing its fragile flipping arms to that overhead bar spinner of Planetary Conqueror, which it has gotten stopped against the wall and now totally flipped over and put on the grinder. Overthrown has to be careful it doesn't drive itself into the grinder, but it is breaking the clubs off of that overhead bar spinner. Planetary Conqueror down a wheel as well, and that was a great throw by Overthrown. And now Overthrown has gone up the wedge, but it's pushed Planetary Conqueror into the grinder and gotten a control board hit on it. And now Planetary Conqueror is trying to return the favor. Overthrown trying to get free of that corner. I think that smoke is coming out of Planetary Conqueror. Overthrown's going to get free and then go right back up the wedge. Oh, and it got underneath and got the KO with a great throw. 52 seconds. And just like that, Pink Chaos has 6 points to nothing, which means the best that Team Smash can do is tie. They cannot win this match, because there's only 6 points remaining to be won. So we go to the heavyweights to see how that goes. Overthrown should be 15-1. I mean, there's only one robot that's undefeated. That's Explicit Equation. Most robots have a weakness somewhere in the league. It's the reason why we require different weapon types on teams, is so that there's good and bad matchups. Speaking of good and bad matchups, we have Bioshocker for Team Smash, a double vertical spinner with protective side armor spikes on the corners. Pink Chaos has Panther and invertible rammer. Predictions for Panther and Bioshocker, please. Most of the chat leaning for Bioshocker. A couple people think that Panther's got a chance here. And some of us just hoping that Pink Chaos gets more than 6 points in a match for once. Let's see what Panther can do for him. Well, that was kind of a timid attack from Panther to start off. Backed itself into the grinder briefly, and it's pushed Bioshocker back to the corner, and then exposed its wheels. Big driving mistake, and Bioshocker is tearing Panther up to punish it for that. One wheel gone, the side armor, 2 wheels gone, the side armor caved in now. Panther now just trying to turn and face Bioshocker, and it's not even really able to do that at the moment. And now Panther trying to scuttle away. Oh, one of the Panther claws is off, as well as a third wheel now. This is not going well for Panther, that is for sure. Control board hits at last, and that is a knockout in 58 seconds. So now it is 6-3, and the super heavyweights can well, they will decide this match. So, super heavyweight time. Smash. Team Smash brings id 4 piston-mounted racks of spikes. Invertible robot. Pink Chaos brings dysfunctional stepsister 10 rear-hinged flipping arms. Predictions for id versus dysfunctional stepsister. Id is currently the number 2 most destructive super heavyweight and the top-ranked super heavyweight. So What do we think will happen here? Lots of people predicting id to win. There's a few in there thinking Dysfunctional Stepsister can win it. Id has some ground clearance, so maybe Dysfunctional Stepsister can get in there. We'll see what happens. BattleBots Boy picking Dysfunctional Stepsister at the last second. Here we go. Id goes right up the wedge and gets thrown well up in the air. Dysfunctional Stepsister having trouble getting those flipping arms in sync once again, but it is doing a great job keeping Id off of the floor. Not able to really get those flipping arms into play, though. Ooh, that was a good hit on the underside. Well, the top side of Id. One of the racks of spikes is off. Some of the flipping arms have come off of Dysfunctional Stepsister now. Id's weaponry doing damage, but so is Dysfunctional Stepsister's. And now Id going for a wheel and getting Dysfunctional Stepsister to mistime those flipping arms once again. And now it's doing a lot of damage to Dysfunctional Stepsister, who's taken off almost all of Id's weaponry. But smoke starting to come out of Dysfunctional Stepsister now. A wheel off of Id, however. And Dysfunctional Stepsister trying to push Id into the corner and up against the grinder. Instead, it's gotten it up against the wall and is going to attack that top plate. One spike remaining on Id. Stepsister getting stuck in the corner. And getting all those flipping arms out of sync yet again. Id manages to drive away from the wall and is going to resume attacking Dysfunctional Stepsister, who is pouring smoke. Both of them are pouring smoke at this point. Which one will outlast the other here? Id is pinned against the wall. Oh, the last spike is broken off. Id has to break the TKO count and is now weaponless. Dysfunctional Stepsister unable to get the spikes underneath it, the flipping arms. And Id has backed itself into the grinder. One of Dysfunctional Stepsister's spikes is stuck in the upright position. And now Id pushing back. And upright once again. So, 40 seconds remaining. If this goes to a judge's decision, Pink Chaos wins the match. Because Id needed a knockout to get the 3 points to tie. And Id running now. Just trying to back up. Dysfunctional Stepsister mistiming its flips once again. Running out of battery power to reset those flipping arms. It takes a wheel at the last minute. 20 seconds remaining. Both robots struggling to make it to the end of this fight. And it looks like, oh, a control board hit with just a few seconds remaining, but it goes to the judges. Dysfunctional Stepsister did a huge amount of damage in this one. That is a judge's decision, which means Pink Chaos have won the match against Team Smash, and if they win the judge's decision, they have 7 points, and they'll finally have broken their streak of 6. So, that will have to wait until our judges confer during the week to see how that one goes. That was a good fight. That might be a fight of the week contender. But it is time to move on to our next match, which is the Robot Rebels and the Baltimore Kestrels. So, Detroit versus Baltimore here. Most people feel that Dysfunctional Stepsister won that one. I feel like your guys are probably correct, but we got to get our official judges' scores to know for sure. So, the Robot Rebels bring to this match in the lightweights Overclock, a piston-poking robot with its spikes kind of angled down a little bit like a wedge. The Baltimore Kestrels bring El Gringo, a super compact four-wheel drive invertible rammer. Predictions for Overclock and El Gringo. Oh, everybody in chat looks like they're going for overclock. There's a few El Gringo predictions in there. Let's see how this goes. I think El Gringo is #2 most destructive lightweight in the league, even though it's kind of struggled to win fights. Let's see what they have. Gringo going in and taking it on the chin from overclock to start, and going right up that kind of wedged weapon setup on overclock. So the angled spikes are kind of doing their job to keep El Gringo at bay. And now overclock's got El Gringo corralled over to one of the grinders. And El Gringo losing spikes off of the front end here. Weaponry on El Gringo not holding up those lightweight spikes. And overclock now totally disabled the weaponry on El Gringo and now has free reign to attack the chassis, which is armored in plastic. And El Gringo now trying to use control to its advantage here and get overclock back into the grinder. But I think it's paid the price for it here. There's smoke coming out of the front end of El Gringo now. El Gringo slowing down from all this damage. A control board hit from overclock. And El Gringo just doing anything that it can to exercise control over this fight. Keeping that piston from firing too fast is going to keep it from getting control board hits. But look at the damage that's been done to the front end of El Gringo. Looks like a set of stairs at this point. There's another control board hit. El Gringo trying to make this one last to the judges. But overclock's going to get the KO with 101 remaining. It was a good, brave showing from El Gringo, but was not meant to be. And we move on to the middleweights, with the Rebels up by 3 points. All right. The Robot Rebels have in the middleweights Dramatic, a drum-shaped vertical spinner. The Baltimore Kestrels have Drigger, which is a piston-poking weapon with a kind of a tiger claw shape to it. Drigger is invertible and Dramatic is not. So, predictions for Dramatic versus Drigger. This might be one of the first times that I've seen a bunch of chat predicting Drigger to win. But chat is overall pretty split between the two of them, so we will see if the vertical spinner takes it or the piston poker. As Dramatic gets up to speed, Drigger stabbing away with that weapon on the front, and it's done damage to Dramatic's drum. There's smoke coming out of it. Dramatic got a little bit of a nibble on Drigger's wheels, but Drigger is going to just charge in and rip the drum right off of Dramatic now. So Dramatic, only with those remaining stabilizing spikes, but Drigger is just stabbing away at Dramatic's chassis now. Dramatic trying to get Drigger's weapon locked up here to slow the amount of damage Drigger's able to do. But look at the damage that Dramatic has taken in the process. And Dramatic going to push Drigger back into the corner grinder. Not quite enough to do any significant damage. I think one of Drigger's spikes has come off now. And Dramatic once again going to lock it up and push it around. It's another case of a robot that's lost his weapon, falling behind, and trying to push the match to the judges and hope to win it on control and aggression. And Drigger failing to get to Dramatic's chassis any longer. Ooh, Physics got really angry with Drigger right there, but we're going to let it run, and that is a knockout with 116 remaining. And the Kestrels have tied the matchup at 3 points apiece. A dramatic fight without a physics glitch. Well, you got your physics glitch. And so now the match is tied and we go to the heavyweights. And we have Flipper versus Flipper for the heavyweights here. Physics montage is going to be short this week. Don't be so sure. We still have a lot of robots and matches to come. So, the Robot Rebels bring Zika to the heavyweights. It is 3 rear-hinged flipping arms with no damaging weapons on them. It's a pure flipper in that sense. The Baltimore Kestrels have Warbird with 3 flipping arms as well that are spiked, and it has a bunch of defensive spikes around the sides. Zika has the plows around the sides. Pretty similarly matched up robots here. What do we predict will be the result of this one? Looks like a few predicting Warbird and a few predicting Zika. It seems pretty evenly split. Let's see how it goes. This is going to be a flipper frenzy right here, I think. Which one has the better flipper? Neither, but... oh, they both mistimed their flips, and they're both on each other's wedge, but Warbird's able to get its flippers under Zika first and toss it through the air. And now Warbird's flippers on top of Zika's chassis, but that center one able to get a good flip on Zika here. Zika mistiming those flipping arms on its own. Oh, what a good toss by Zika, and it's lost its center flipping arm as a result. And now they're kind of stalemated on top of each other rather than getting any flips in here. But Zika pushing Warbird back to the grinder. That could be critical here. And it is, because Warbird has lost its right side wheel now. So Zika taking advantage of pushing rather than flipping here to take control of this match. Warbird has had to get free to avoid a count out, and look at the damage the grinder has done to it. And Warbbird's lost its wheel, it can't break the count. Zika is going to get a TKO in 62 seconds, taking Warbird's wheels off with the arena hazards. And that puts the Rebels in the lead 5-3. And a great come-from-behind win for Zika. And that's one of the reasons why we use this arena, because just because a robot is being outclassed doesn't mean it can't get the upper hand with a good push into the hazards. Those grinders are dangerous. And the game has crashed, because that's what it does. So it is up to the super heavyweights to decide the outcome here. In the super heavyweights, the Robot Rebels have Heart Attack, a 6-wheel drive wedgie rammer. Is sort of invertible, has at least 2 wheels on the floor. The Kestrels have Berserker, which has 4 horizontal spinners, 1 at each corner. Berserker's one of the more destructive robots in the super heavyweights, I think. Doesn't win very much, but it does a lot of damage. So, predictions for Heart Attack and Berserker, please. Everybody going for Heart Attack for the most part. Okay. Well, let's see what Heart Attack and Berserker can do to each other here. Heart Attack just needs to avoid the fight ending early, and they will win or draw. Well, there's Physics getting very upset with both of them. So if you predicted physics glitches, then you can check that bingo square off. Berserker needs a knockout here to win the match for the Kestrels. And it's already knocked some of the spikes off of Heart Attack, but Heart Attack has pushed Berserker back into the grinder. There's more spikes coming off of Heart Attack. And a wheel now. Heart Attack getting in there to Berserker, but Berserker racking up the damage now and has gotten Heart Attack corralled into the grinder. And Heart Attack is struggling to move here. It's lost its plow to the grinder now. Look at this. Berserker absolutely tearing Heart Attack apart here. Heart Attack kind of stuck on top of Berserker at the moment, but it's going to get free. And now Heart Attack, with its lopsided drive and most of its weapon power missing, has to figure out what to do about Berserker, who only just now lost the first spike off its front weapons. We're only a minute into this fight, and Berserker is well and truly on top. Heart Attack going to push it into the grinder, but those rear weapons actually doing a great job protecting Berserker. Heart Attack broken one of the weapons off of Berserker. Both of the weapons have come off of the front end of Berserker, so now Heart Attack kind of has the weapon advantage. And Berserker's going to try to outpush it here because Heart Attack is getting angry with physics at the moment. None of the physics problems have really affected the strategic outcome of the fight, so we're kind of letting it continue as more parts come off of Berserker. Berserker kind of corralling Heart Attack over by a grinder once again. Oh, but look at the damage that Heart Attack's able to do to Berserker's chassis here. Able to get some minor rams in here. Even with the lopsided, underpowered drive. And Berserker just continuing to press and pressure Heart Attack here. Berserker's a little bit like a zombie. It's not fast, it's not aggressive, it just never stops coming at you. 30 seconds remaining in this fight. Oh, Heart Attack's driven itself back into the grinder and lost its last remaining right side wheel. That could be critical. And now it's gotten itself stuck on the debris there. That's all just piled up in front of that grinder. And Berserker doing its damnedest to keep Heart Attack in that corner. And now Heart Attack stuck, able to get free at the last second, but it goes to the judges. So, that ensures that the Rebels win the match overall because they were up by 2 points and there's only 1 point available for a judge's decision. So the Rebels have won the match, but by how much? I just saw a super chat pop up there at the end of that. Snowing Steak, we need a new term for when the front of a robot gets demolished. Demolished is a good term. But yeah, you guys work on coming up with some... I like that we've come up with like terms for some of the weird stuff that happens with the physics bombs and the sludge fest and such, so It'd be cool to have more like Robot Rampage League specific terminology. Well, that is another match that we were waiting for a judge's decision to know the exact outcome of. So let's move on to our fourth match between Heavy Metal Robotics and River City Robotics. Nashville against Little Rock. So Heavy Metal Robotics has Voidwalker in the lightweights, a 360-degree horizontal spinner. River City Robotics has Network, which is horizontally mounted saw blade spinner. We classify saw blade spinners differently to other types of spinners because they do slow amounts of damage over time and not a bunch of damage in big hits. So, predictions for Voidwalker versus Network. Wow. Everybody going for Voidwalker. Dadu says I should get a Sludgefest t-shirt. If I do get any kind of merch in the future, I am considering Robot Rampage League merch. But I will leave that up to you guys to decide if that's something that you would like. So let's get Voidwalker and Network started, as the whole chat has gone for Voidwalker in this one. Both robots getting up to speed. Voidwalker getting some damage on those front motors. And the first of them has been broken off of Network. And now the last remaining saw blade motor smoking. And that one has come off too. So Voidwalker has disabled the weapon off of Network, and now Network is a rammy box. However, it is doing a good job kind of pushing Voidwalker over to the corner and getting its weapon stopped until it backed away there. And now Voidwalker is going to get up to speed and attack and knock the right side wheel off of Network. And so this one is probably going to be a Voidwalker victory here. It's just a matter of, do they get 3 points for the knockout or 2 points for the TKO, because now Network is completely immobile, but Voidwalker going to get the 3 points for the knockout. And there we go. Heavy Metal up by 3 to start. They already had a huge lead in Division 1. And HIVE didn't get a whole lot of points. They only got 5 points, so Heavy Metal off to a good start in this one as we move on to the middleweights. Oop, I need to do this, because Heavy Metal has a multi-bot in the middleweights. So, in the middleweights, Heavy Metal Robotics has Heartbreak and Seance, a multi-bot pair with Heartbreak, a pneumatic piston spike, and Seance, a rear-hinged flipper. River City Robotics has Cleansing in the middleweights. It's a spike wedge with a single front-hinged flipper behind that, and some big exposed wheels. So, predictions for Heartbreak and Seance versus Cleansing. Burnout feels Heartbreak and Seance have a good chance here. Heartbreak and Seance have been a good multi-bot pairing for most of the league. They have a chance against most opponents. In fact, some of Heartbreak and Seance's losses have just been down to bad driving rather than a bad robot team. Chat seems to be mostly in favor of Heartbreak and Seance here, but there are a few predicting Cleansing to come out on top. And it is the bigger robot, so let's see what happens here. So, Cleansing going straight after Heartbreak, the piston poker, and Seance is going to come and attack from the rear and flip Cleansing over. Now, Cleansing having to self-right while under pressure from the two mini-bots. Heartbreak not able to get that spike in there, but Seance doing a good job keeping Cleansing up in the air. And Cleansing is just struggling to do anything here because it's just being surrounded. Trying to get underneath. Heartbreak, it's been flipped over by Seance yet again. Seance doing a lot of the work here. And keeping Cleansing off balance. You can see the damage starting to pile up on Cleansing now. As Heartbreak goes at stabbing that right side wheel. And Seance goes and flips Cleansing over on top of the grinder. That is not a good spot for Cleansing to be. It's trying to right itself. Ooh, while trying to right itself, it has actually landed some good hits to the mini-bots. And they are making it as difficult as possible for Cleansing to get back up right here. In fact, they're holding it off of the floor so it can't self-right. I think they're a little confused. Because Cleansing is stuck on top of Heartbreak at the moment. Now it's finally trying to get free. Ooh, it landed a control board hit on Heartbreak. So Heartbreak has taken a lot of damage from Cleansing here. They're back to teaming up and making it difficult for Cleansing to move. And they are getting some more damage in play. But both of the mini-bots heavily damaged here. Seance is smoking and on control board hits. And that's Seance taken out. Heartbreak has taken the wheel off of Cleansing. And Cleansing has been struggling to get under it. But Cleansing only needs a couple of good hits, and Heartbreak will get its last remaining control board hits. I think Heartbreak was checking if Seance was okay there. Which, no, it is not. You are on your own here for these last 15 seconds. And it's wedged that spike underneath Cleansing. Doing whatever last-minute damage that it can. And this is going to go to the judges. $38.66 the total for Heartbreak and Seance combined. So that is, whoops, that is 1 point for somebody, and I feel like that's going to be a pretty close decision there. And we move on to the heavyweights. Who does chat think won that one? A lot of people say it's tough. Close call. Yeah, it's a good one. It was not an energetic fight, but it was a good, close fight all the way to the end. Alright, heavyweight time. Heavy Metal Robotics has Vacuity, which has an overhead axe and these heavily armored kind of pontoon wedges. River City Robotics has Jaws of Death, which is the side hinge swinging clubs. Jaws of Death is invertible. Vacuity only is invertible after its axe is broken off. So, predictions for Jaws of Death versus Vacuity. Keeping in mind, Vacuity is famous for pushing fights to the judges. Thing in my eye. Speaking of judges' decisions, Vacuity, yeah. A lot of the chat is leaning in favor of Vacuity here, but there were quite a few predicting Jaws of Death, so let's see which one can take the win here. There's only 4 points that have been scored this whole match so far. Heavy Metal either has a lead of 2 or a lead of 4. Look at the damage that Vacuity's doing to the front of Jaws of Death, which has just gone straight up Vacuity's wedge. But that axe not able to fully retract while it's pushed up against the wall. And Jaws of Death has to break the pin. And now it's going to attack the right side of Vacuity. Vacuity going to try and get that axe into play against Jaws of Death's clubs. Spikes breaking off. I think those are the defensive spike work around Vacuity. Vacuity's broken one of the clubs with its axe, and it's actually climbed over the top of Jaws of Death at the moment. Jaws of Death getting shots on that left side wheel now. And that club has now broken off on Vacuity's defensive work. So Jaws of Death having its weaponry severely hampered here, but still trying to get at those wheels. And the left side wheel has been knocked off now, and the axe. So Jaws of Death still not out of this one. Physics got annoyed at Vacuity and pushed it slightly to the side. Jaws of Death is going to back up and get an attack onto Vacuity's right front wedge. Now Vacuity has to break a TKO count here. And it will do so, and Jaws will try to push it closer to the grinder, and look at that, attacking that right side wheel. Vacuity struggling to move. It's actually bouncing around. It's trying to move. Oh, there goes the right side wheel now. So Jaws of Death has finally sniped the wheels off of Vacuity. And the TKO count is underway, and that will be a TKO win for River City Robotics with 103 left. And so now this could possibly be a tied match, depending on that judge's decision. Because River City just got 2 points there, and Heavy Metal has 3 from the lightweights. So the super heavyweight match is going to decide the winner here. River City doing a good job putting themselves back in contention for this match win. So, Aqua Dementia is Heavy Metal's super heavyweight. Bunch of side hinged flipping arms underneath that wedge. River City Robotics has Overseer, a low slung horizontal spinner with a lot of defensive work up front, which could give Aqua Dementia some trouble getting under. Overseer is not invertible. Predictions for Aqua Dementia and Overseer. Everybody thinks Aqua Dementia's got this one. Dadu saying he'll eat his hat and socks if Overseer wins. Hey, Overseer's gotten a couple of surprise wins this season. Overseer beat Blood Eagle last week in a huge upset, so don't count it out just yet. Aqua Dementia getting straight under Overseer and tossing it up in the air. And now that spinning disc is off, all the defensive work is off, the weapon motor is off. Aqua Dementia acting like a surgeon and just cutting everything off immediately. And control board hits against Overseer, and that is a 21-second knockout. Aqua Dementia not playing around. And that wins Heavy Metal the match. 6 and or 7 to 2 or 3, depending on that judge's decision. Man, we've got a bunch of judges' decisions. We've only had 3, but we've got 3 matches that we don't know the final result of yet as a result. So, all right. Good win for Aqua Dementia, having no mercy. And that's why Heavy Metal is leading Division 1. So, match number 5, Indiana Robotics Alliance and the Armchair Engineers. This is Indianapolis against Boston. So I brought up being number 1 in Division 1. The playoffs are seeded. The playoffs are stepladder format, which means that the final seeding is going to matter on who you're going to face and when. The higher a team is seeded in the playoffs, the less fights that they have. So, getting a lot of points is a good thing here for heavy metal. Indiana is fighting for a playoff spot just to get into the playoffs, so they're going to want a lot of points so that they're not at the bottom of that step ladder. Indiana comes in with X Factor, a low-slung horizontal spinner, and the Armchair Engineers have Whipwreck, a sit-and-spin flail thwackbot. Both robots are invertible. Who do we think will win this one? Kai thinks everything in the world is unpredictable. Quite a few have predicted Whipwreck to win. Quite a few have predicted X Factor to win. Both are good options. What matters is that we're about to find out. X Factor immediately up to speed and getting right through to Whipwreck's chassis and getting some good hits. And there goes the flail off of Whipwreck immediately. And now Whipwreck's just a fast ramming box. And it's jammed X Factor's weapon with its own thwacking arm. I haven't seen that one before. So now X Factor with its weapon jammed shut. Oh, but it has gotten it free now. And it can go back to attacking Whipwreck. And now smoke out of Whipwreck. This fight is not going to last too much longer, I don't feel. There's a wheel and the control board KO in 47 seconds. And Indiana has 3 points to start the match. Tamabris pops a super chat in, £5, saying, relaxing surprisingly without alcohol as you're flued up after a 6-day shift. Here's RRL term for a bot that loses all its wheels, gravestones. That's a good idea. I like that. Well, it sucks to hear that you seem ill. Hopefully you get better. Hopefully you get some beers in you after a while, because I know you enjoy watching this with some beers. Thank you for the £5 super chat, Tamabris. I appreciate it very much. In the middleweights, the Indiana Robotics Alliance has the Iron Curtain, a wall of defensive steel plates with a piston spike that comes out from between them. The Armchair Engineers have Mini Berserker, 2 horizontal spinners. It's literally the super heavyweight Berserker with the rear 2 weapons removed. So, predictions for Iron Curtain versus Mini Berserker. Heavy Metal guaranteed to be #1 seed in Division 1. They have a minimum of 20 points over HIVE. Yeah. And there's only, well, after this week, there's only 13 more points to get. So, and that's for a perfect shutout. We haven't had too many perfect shutouts this season. I think there's only been 2 or 3 in the whole season so far. It looks like most of the chat is leaning for Iron Curtain. Quite a few going for Mini Berserker. Let's find out what happens. Iron Curtain trying to get that stabbing spike into Mini Berserker's weapons to maybe break off a motor or break off a disc. And it's kind of falling forward as a result of the lack of laws of physics involved with pistons in Robot Arena 2. Mini Berserker basically held at bay by the Iron Curtain up until now. And now Mini Berserker may be able to get around those center iron plates. Or Iron Curtain's going to flip itself over. It lucked out that Mini Berserker righted it by accident. This is definitely a case of... Oh, hold on. Iron Curtain is flipped over and is being counted out already. And that is a TKO. Mini Berserker taking the easy victory there to earn itself 2 points. So it is now a 3-2 match. The Armchair Engineer is still behind, but only by 1 point. And we go to the heavyweights. So, in the heavyweights, Indiana Robotics Alliance has Second Amendment, which is a four-wheel drive invertible rammer. The front spikes are kind of angled down slightly to get at wedges. The Armchair Engineers have Axis and Allies. Axis, a front-hinged flipper. Allies, a double vertical spinner. Allies is not invertible. Second Amendment and Axis... Second Amendment is invertible. Axis can self-right. So, predictions for Second Amendment versus Axis and Allies. Where is Second Amendment in the ratings here? It is not on either of the top 5 lists. So... looks like chat is kind of split, leaning more towards Second Amendment, but still reasonably split. Let's see how it goes. Second Amendment going straight for Axis, the smaller of the two robots, and that is going to allow Allies to get in from behind and get some big shots on the rear armor of Second Amendment, who was at risk of throwing itself over the wall off the front end of Axis for a minute. Axis doing a great job neutralizing the speed advantage that Second Amendment has, and Allies has thrown itself onto its front end, and Second Amendment going to take advantage and throw it into the grinder. Ooh, Physics got angry there. I'm going to ask Burnout what he thinks of that, as Second Amendment takes a wheel off of Axis and puts it on the grinder, but Allies is going to get control board hits on Second Amendment and get the knockout. So that is pending what that physics problem was with Allies. Burnout says it's okay, so that is an official knockout for Axis and Allies. Over one of the more successful and destructive heavyweights in Second Amendment. 43-48. I think that's the best that Allies has done in a fight yet. Usually Allies just falls over. And just like that, the Armchair Engineers have taken the lead 5-3. So now Indiana needs a KO in the super heavyweights to win this match. So, super heavyweight time. Indiana has Black Widow, which is a vertical spinning kind of face drill spinner with a bunch of protective armor on the sides and protective armor over the top. The Armchair Engineers have Smashy McSmash Face, which is 5 hammer arms. The robot's designed to look like it was built in Robot Arena 1. So, what do we think is going to happen between Black Widow and Smashy McSmash Face? A lot of people want to see Smashy continue to win. He's gotten 2 wins on the season, I believe. All in the last couple of weeks, with the Armchair Engineers having all of their success in the last 3 weeks. Completely 0-12 before that. I can't tell if people are predicting Smashy to win or just cheering for Smashy to win, but let's see what happens. Smashy get off of the wall. Yes, it does. Black Widow coming in with that drill, kind of being held at bay by Smashy's hammer arms. And not getting to Smashy's chassis that well. Smashy's going to push Black Widow into the corner grinder. And look at this, Smashy taking advantage of its wedge to push Black Widow to the arena hazards. And look at the damage that's been done to Black Widow. Smashy's now lost 3 of its 5 hammer arms, 4 of its 5 hammer arms. And Black Widow going right up to that wedge. But Smashy maintaining control of the fight for the most part. Black Widow getting a lot of damage to the chassis now that it's able to get to it. And smoke coming out of Smashy McSmashface now. Black Widow coming back in this fight. Oh, those are control board hits now. As Black Widow has worn down the front end of Smashy McSmashface, and that is a KO in 64 seconds. And so, Indiana barely defeats the Armchair Engineers 6-5. As always, Smashy put up a good fight. Yeah, Smashy's a tough robot. Yay, Indiana. Well, Indiana's trying to get a playoff spot, I believe. What were they at? They were 4th. Going into this week, and they've gotten 6 points, which is a reasonable number of points to get. So they're still in contention for that 4th spot. We move on to the Orlando Commandos versus the C Team. So the Commandos have airtime in the lightweights, a piston flipper. Pistons work differently in Robot Arena 2 than they do in real life. They're missing some of the laws of physics, so we don't know if airtime will be able to self-right or not with it. The C-Team has Brickface, which is a sit-and-spin thwackbot with an angled thwacking weapon, kind of like T-Rex from old BattleBots. So, predictions for airtime versus Brickface. Most of chat feels like Brickface has a win here, so let's see how that goes. Airtime definitely has less weapon power because it has no damaging components on it. But Brickface can get unstable when it's spinning up to speed. Got a good thwack in on the side of Airtime, who's mistiming its flips and thrown itself over and managed to self-right. Ooh, a good shot from Brickface, almost flipped Airtime over. Airtime using those pistons to stabilize itself. Oh my goodness, it got Brickface to almost drive itself over to the wall. Collided with the top of the wall and stayed in. That was a huge hit from Brickface that knocked Airtime over. Now look at the damage piling up on the side of Airtime, who now has been knocked over once again. And once again able to self-right. Ooh, Brickface got the wheel that time, and now Airtime stuck on its side. Is it able to self-right or not? We're not sure. Brickface going vertical as it gets unstable again. Airtime trying to self-right and unable to do so. And Brickface unable to attack it because it's too unstable. Oh, careful, Brickface. Don't drive up the wall. Airtime now against the wall. Unlikely to be able to self-right from there as it's driving itself towards the corner grinder. And now losing one of its flipping arms to the grinder. Brickface going to come in and make sure that Airtime stays against the grinder. And that is a control board hit from the arena hazards and a KO with 1:14 left. So, Brickface taking the relatively safe route of waiting for airtime to kill itself on the grinder rather than risking throwing itself over the wall, which was a smart decision, and that is 3 points to the C team. And now it is middleweight time. So, the Orlando Commandos have Q, a sit-and-spin robot with a bunch of spikes around the border. The C-Team has Explicit Equation, 4 piston-poking spikes. Both robots are invertible. Explicit Equation is 15-0 undefeated and has, I think, all but 2 of its wins are knockout. It is a beast. Q, meanwhile, is the most destructive lightweight in, or the most destructive middleweight in the league by a wide margin. So, what do we predict will happen between Q and Explicit Equation? This could be a good fight. I don't know if Explicit Equation can get those spikes into Q's side while it's spinning, but if anything can, it's probably a piston. So, most of chat says Explicit Equation is the safe choice to predict, so let's see how it goes. Ooh, a good shot from Explicit Equation to start, and Q getting to the side of Explicit Equation, risking that left side wheel to start. It's hitting the pistons from the side, and so not really taking a whole lot of damage. There's that left wheel off. One of the spikes also off of Explicit Equation. However, Q itself has taken a lot of damage as well. And can it last to the end of the fight? Or will it knock out Explicit Equation first? Is Explicit Equation now trying to get those spikes into Q's chassis over the top of Q's spikes? Some of Q's spikes now coming off as Explicit Equation trying to keep its distance and using its reach advantage. Oh, but Q getting to Explicit Equation's wheel there. Oh, 1 spike remaining on Explicit Equation as Q is tearing into that left side. But Q is going to suffer from the sit and spin AI. Oh no! That could have been it. That could have been it. Oh my goodness, Q. How could you let us down like this? That was the worst way that could have ended. Explicit Equation with the TKO win because of the sit and spin AI. God damn. And Explicit Equation is 16-0 now. Wow. That was the one time that Explicit Equation looked totally beaten. And the sit and spin AI got him. It's a good thing we're changing the AI modes next season. So the C team are up 5-0. And we move on to the heavyweights. In the heavyweights, the Orlando Commandos have Drillosaurus with 3 drill weapons on the front. The C team has Steel Dragon 2000, which has these kind of bitey, cutting, jaw-type weapons, classified as rear hinge flippers and overhead axes for our purposes. Drillosaurus is invertible, but it has some big exposed wheels. What do we predict the outcome of this will be? Drillosaurus seems to be the expectation, I'm going to kind of agree with Chad on this one. Drillosaurus is the most destructive heavyweight in the league, third most destructive robot in the league, and it is just 2 points shy of having 40 points itself. So let's see what Steel Dragon 2000 can do. So they meet in the center of the ring, and Drillosaurus has already gotten Steel Dragon 2000 up in the air a little bit. But Steel Dragon 2000 pushing Drillosaurus back to the arena grinder. Two of the flipping arms. All of the weapons off of Steel Dragon 2000 as Drillosaurus has trouble with the debris and gets pushed into the grinder as a result. So Steel Dragon 2000 trying to use the hazards now that it's weaponless. Motors being broken off of Steel Dragon 2000. Drillosaurus has lost some of those spikes on that center disc. More motors flying off of Steel Dragon 2000. And control board hits, and that's a knockout in 48 seconds. During that fight, we had a super chat from Quora Flavomarginata. I don't know how to pronounce words. Just roll with it. That middleweight fight is probably the most depressing moment of the RRL up till this point. You're not wrong. We had absolute euphoria when the Armchair Engineers got their first win, and now we have absolute depression with Q losing to Explicit Equation because of the AI. That was not cool. But Orlando have gotten 3 points back here, and so now they are only down 2 going into the super heavyweights. So, it's still possible for Orlando to win this match. In the super heavyweights, Orlando Commandos have Abrin 4 Warpick style axes, not invertible. The C team has Hygiene, which is an 8-wheel drive Rambot, mostly sort of invertible. I think it only has 2 wheels on the floor when it's upside down. Predictions for Abrin versus Hygiene. Lots of people going for Abrin in the chat. It does have okay reach. It might be able to get past Hygiene spikes. It has KO'd some robots really fast with those axes. It does a lot of damage quickly. So let's see how it goes. And Hygiene with a huge ram, but Abrin, look at the damage that it's done. And that's a 5-second KO from Abrin, who didn't even need to move. And that wins Orlando the match 6-5. And that just goes to show you need to armor all of your robot, not just the front. And that is a match win for Orlando, and every match win comes with a bonus point for the winner of the match, and those bonus points could be critical for seeding in the playoffs. So that is, it's a narrow win, but it's still a win with a bonus point. Gives Orlando the number 2 seed for now. For now is important. So, number 1 team in the league, the Meta Bot Builders versus Valley View Robotics Club. I think Valley View is... Are they competing for a playoff spot? No, they are not. They might already be in the playoffs. I haven't paid that much attention to it, to be honest. So, the Meta Bot Builders have Uglybot, a pneumatic piston poking robot. Valley View Robotics Club has Overvolter, which is an overhead axe. Predictions for Uglybot versus Overvolter. Overvolter is a number 3rd ranked lightweight. Uglybot is a number 5th most destructive lightweight. Most of the chat leaning towards Overvolter. Oh, Valley View's in the basement. Yeah, I thought they were pretty far outside of the playoffs. Most of the chat going for Overvolter here. It is a very destructive robot. Let's see how it goes. But it does have that exposed chassis for Uglybot to get at, and Uglybot's almost knocked it over. And Overvolter's struggling to get at Uglybot's chassis. Uglybot with the greater reach. And it's... Oh, wow, it broke the weapon right off of Overvolter and got a control board hit. And that's a KO in 22 seconds for Uglybot. And a quick 3 points to the meta bot builders, who are looking to maintain their number 1 seeding in Division 2. The middleweights, we have Creighton, 4 rear-hinged flippers against Galactic Fabrication with 2 rear-hinged flippers. Creighton's flippers are damaging. Galactic Fabrication is a pure flipper with no damaging components on the flippers. It also has a steeper wedge. Predictions for Creighton versus Galactic Fabrication. Burnout says this fight is going to be quick. Yes, it is. Creighton better win this. I mean, Creighton is on a losing streak. It went undefeated until it met Explicit Equation, and now it's lost twice. So... can Creighton get back in the winner's circle here? Dadu gonna eat everything in his house if Creighton loses. If that happens, you have to live stream it. Wow, look at that flip from Creighton. Galactic Fabrication getting some galactic airtime, and now underneath Creighton. And gotten Creighton flipped upside down and pushing it over near one of the grinders, but Creighton gonna get under Galactic Fabrication here. They're just exchanging flips at the moment. And Galactic Fabrication getting Creighton over to a grinder now. And Creighton trying to get out of there. And Galactic Fabrication keeping the pressure up. Creighton managing to get underneath the wedge. And getting some good tosses in itself. This is a good back and forth fight so far. Galactic Fabrication's a really awkward ball-like shape, and so it just kind of rolls back upright pretty easily. But it has taken a lot of damage from Creighton's flipping arms here. And now it's mistiming its own flips. Oh, and Creighton's just going to push it right up the wall. Didn't even bother to get underneath it. There goes one of the flipping arms straight out of the ring. Oh, and Galactic Fabrication's rear stabilizer's broken off. And that's a knockout in 70 seconds. So, Galactic Fabrication put up a tough fight, but no match for Creighton, who has given Meta a 6-0 lead. Which means it is impossible for Valley View to win this match now. They can tie at best. Galactic put up a hell of a fight. Yes, it did. So, heavyweight time. Psychogenic Harmfulness on the Metabot Builders. Double vertical spinner. Valley View Robotics Club has Cinnamon, which is a spiked scoop rammer. It's designed specifically for scooping robots over the arena walls. And Psychogenic Harmfulness is a pretty tall robot, and I don't think either of them are invertible. So, predictions for Psychogenic Harmfulness versus Cinnamon. Ooh, lots of people predicting Cinnamon as the winner. And lots quite a few predicting Psychogenic as well. It is pretty split in the chat, so let's see who comes out on top. Well, Cinnamon has the wedging ability, going right between Psychogenic Harmfulness's front stabilizers and pushing it straight back to the wall a couple of times now. And Psychogenic Harmfulness not really able to get those weapon teeth into play against that scoop of Cinnamon. However, those stabilizers are actually stabilizing Psychogenic quite well until it trips over the floor. They're able to keep Cinnamon from flipping Psychogenic over. Oh, but now Cinnamon going to push Psychogenic back to the grinder. It does have defensive work on the rear to protect it, so that's no harm, no foul there. Now Cinnamon's struggling to figure out how to attack Psychogenic here. A spike has come off of Psychogenic Harmfulness's disc, and now it is up in the air and bouncing around because it's not totally balanced. Ooh, Cinnamon throwing itself into a grinder. It's got to be careful. More spikes coming off. I think I see a spike strip from Cinnamon on the floor as well. Both robots doing slight amounts of damage to each other. Psychogenic bouncing around in the air, and Cinnamon actually struggling to drive here. Ooh, Cinnamon backing into the grinder. So we're halfway through the timed part of the fight. Oh, the stabilizer broke off the front of Psychogenic Harmfulness, and now Cinnamon's got free access to its chassis. And it broke the other one off, and now Psychogenic is way off balance, and Cinnamon's going to get it over to the grinder with no problem. Psychogenic manages to get down, but it's stuck on its face. And Cinnamon going to take it right back over to the grinder once again. Oh, the top scoop off of Cinnamon now, as the rear armor coming apart on Psychogenic Harmfulness, who's taken off the middle scoop of Cinnamon. So now it's just the lower wedges. As Cinnamon ramming Psychogenic Harmfulness everywhere that it can, and Psychogenic Harmfulness doing damage as it flips and flops around. I think just 2 spikes remaining on that vertical weapon of Psychogenic Harmfulness. A big ram from Cinnamon to keep Psychogenic Harmfulness on the grinder. It's lost its left side wheel and is stuck on the grinder here with 19 seconds to go. Cinnamon's just going to pin it, and I think I'm going to have to restart it. Yep, this is... I think this is a pin. What do you say, Burnout? Because it didn't back up to give Psychogenic a chance to get off the grinder. He says no pin. What do you think? That's a pin. That's what I thought. You have to restart. If it had done that 6 seconds later, or 6 seconds sooner. And so here we go. Ooh, Psychogenic getting to Cinnamon's side. And now Cinnamon charging straight in there between those front stabilizers. Cinnamon not being very aggressive at the moment. But now it's going to push Psychogenic back into the wall. Psychogenic coming right after Cinnamon repeatedly and just going straight into that scoop. And Cinnamon not really able to do much with Psychogenic Harmfulness, getting between those stabilizers. Oh my goodness, Cinnamon fell over on its own. It turned too hard, and now Psychogenic Harmfulness is going to get in whatever damage that it can. And it's got Cinnamon parked up against the wall. It backs up so that it's not a pin, and this is going to be a TKO, I think. Cinnamon with the driving mistake, and Psychogenic Harmfulness took advantage. 57 seconds. Hey, babe. My wife got home from work. It makes me happy.
I want to come kiss you.
Well, come in here. I know there's lights and everything in the way. Come in here anyway. All right. Meta is up 8-0. So let's see if Valley View can at least get some points here, or if Meta's going to run away. Missed you.
Missed you too. I'm glad to be home.
Okay, so... Oh, the chat says, hello, Mrs. Psycho.
Hello.
The meta bot builders have Spearmint, which is the bigger version of Cinnamon. It's a spiked scoop rammer. Valley View has TekonoAxe, 4 side-hinged fire axes, and invertible, so flipping it over is not going to make much of a difference. So, predictions for Spearmint against TekonoAxe. Meta to get their 3rd shutout of the season, Burnout says. Meta has been pretty good at that. Everybody predicting Spearmint for this one. Let's see how it goes. Ooh, Cinnamon just stopped Spearmint cold there. Oh, but now Spearmint's underneath... TekonoAxe and has it up against the wall, and just gonna hold it here to run out some time, it looks like. And TekonoAxe is gonna fall upside down and come after Spearmint once again. Spearmint's gonna get under it. The axes are attacking, but they're just getting that scoop, and once again Spearmint stopped cold, but TekonoAxe not able to get the axes past the scoop. Ooh, that was a big charge, and that took the head off of one of the axes. And a second axe has come off now. And Spearmint gonna put TekonoAxe on top of the grinder to get some hazard damage. One of TekonoAxe's wheels falling off on the grinder. And here's another big charge. Almost got TekonoAxe over the wall. TekonoAxe with no control, no axes remaining, just one extender, and Spearmint in full command of this fight. And there's the ring out that we were waiting for. 75 seconds. It's been a while since we've gotten a ring out of Spearmint. And that is a 10-0 victory. That is probably going to cement Meta's #1 seed. I don't see anybody getting many more points than that. Valley View totally shut out by the #1 in the league. So, 2 more matches. And another game crash, because that's what the game does. Alright, next match time. 4th time Valley View's been shut out. Valley View's not doing too good, have they? Well, our penultimate match is Kinetic Creatures against Sinister Creations. Kinetic Creatures has Steel Dragon, a vertically oriented saw blade spinner that is sort of invertible. It can run on its end. Sinister Creations has Overheat, a front-hinged flipper. Predictions for Kinetic versus Sinister Creation, or Steel Dragon versus Overheat, please. Wedge stalemate is what Nightmare27 says. That's a distinct possibility here. Overheat after a painful 3-minute snooze fest. I mean, it's possible. Neither of these robots have particularly good drive power. Most of the chat thinks Overheat has the advantage here, so let's find out what happens. Oh, Steel Dragon goes up the wedge, and Overheat gets a good flip on. And now, Steel Dragon using that saw blade to cut up the wedge of Overheat. And it is doing a fair amount of damage to it. Look at the damage pile up on Overheat here. Oh my goodness. Overheat's going to back up to break a pin and try and get its flipping arm into play at least once. And Overheat going to toss Steel Dragon back upright, and then now getting underneath it and flipping it repeatedly. Trying to back up to get a good charge in there once again, but it's just going to expose itself to those saw blades once again. Overheat exercising control by pinning Steel Dragon to the wall in the corner. Steel Dragon's got to break a TKO count here, which it does. And Steel Dragon going to go up the wedge with the saw blades, and now smoke coming out of Overheat. So those saw blades doing steady amounts of damage. And Overheat's going to toss Steel Dragon back upright. But you can tell Overheat is hurting badly. That weapon did not retract very quick at all. Blackburn with the upside down emoji for Steel Dragon. I like it. So now both of them trying to maneuver. They had to break a count, and they're going to have a wedge stalemate instead now. But Overheat has the drive power advantage, apparently. It's going to push Steel Dragon over to the wall. Have to break the TKO count, which they both do. And they're going to stalemate once again. Although Overheat is working Steel Dragon back over towards that corner grinder. Oh, but it backed out of it. Oh, it's going to try and get Steel Dragon's wheel into the grinder and take it off successfully here. So Overheat making good use of the arena hazards here. And Steel Dragon is struggling to move. It might not be able to move. Can it break a TKO count here with 20 seconds to go? It cannot. So Overheat manages, with the quick thinking, to get it into the corner grinder and take a wheel off and get a TKO out of it. And that is 2 points for Sinister to start off with. Not an exciting fight, but clever use of the arena hazards, at least. Move on to the middleweights, where we have Siege versus Cycloid. Both of these robots are very destructive. Siege is the number 2 most destructive middleweight, and Cycloid is the number 4 most destructive middleweight. So Siege, vertical bar spinner with some armor plates on its front wedge. Cycloid, 2 Warpick style side axes, invertible, and it has some defensive spikes on the front. So predictions for Siege and Cycloid. Chat is going back and forth between Siege and Cycloid for this one. Burnout, you just now found out what a Cycloid is, really? You and me both study tornadoes and you don't know what Cycloids are. That's literally the marks that they leave in the ground, man. Anyway, let's get this fight started between Cycloid and Siege and Cycloid. They both collide in the center, and Cycloid kept at bay by those armor plates on Siege, whose bar spinner has lifted Cycloid up in the air and is now attacking the underbelly, but that's allowing Cycloid to attack the weapon of Siege. And now smoke coming out of that weapon. And there it goes. Cycloid taking the weapon totally off of Siege. Physics will be unhappy if they remain there, which they've managed to get out, but Siege now with the wedge advantage has gotten underneath Cycloid. And he's going to ram Cycloid into the wall and the grinder. Oh, but Siege just flipped itself over, running into the wall. Oh, both of the armor plates off now. And a wheel. Cycloid has taken Siege apart. Look at this. And now just going for this 3-point knockout. Not really getting the... Oh, no, Physics, why'd you do that? I got to restart that. I have to restart that. No, because that might have been a TKO, but Physics stopped it. Why? Oh, that was such a good fight, but I have to restart it because that could have been the difference in points. Well, here we go. Both robots are going to collide in the middle of the ring, and Siege is going to get locked up here by Cycloid's front end, and Cycloid's just going to swing away at this weapon motor. Not able to do much to it, though. And now Siege going to get Cycloid up in the air and flip it over. So Siege doing a lot of damage to Cycloid, but breaking its bar now. And Cycloid getting under siege. And Siege trapped against a grinder, and between the grinder and Cycloid is trying to swing away at it, do as much damage as possible. It's broken one of the armor panels off now. And both of the armor panels have come off. Cycloid's lost one spike off of the right axe. Siege has lost almost its entire spinning weapon at this point. And Cycloid is just still stabbing away with those axes, and now Siege has totally lost its bar. Oh, but look at this ram from Cycloid that put Siege on the grinder, and that is going to be a KO with 147 left. That was a fantastic way to end the fight. And Sinister's up 5-0. Time for another Spider-Man meme fight. So, Kinetic creatures have an invertible sit-and-spin flail thwack bot in Surgical Glory, and Sinister has an invertible sit-and-spin flail thwack bot in Omnipresence. I think we might have AI issues with this one, so we're going to see how this one goes. What the fuck? What is this super chat? Wow. Vimming ain't easy with a $150 super chat? Holy Just finished watching your Robot Wars reviews and loved them. Thank you. I had a lot of fun making them. I'm going to go back to doing Robot Wars live reviews on as soon as BattleBots 2020 is over. Nice that I wasn't the only one frustrated with Jonathan Pierce's inaccurate commentary. Have a good meals on me. Wow, I'm going to have a lot of good meals for that. Holy cow. That is by a wide margin the largest super chat I have ever gotten. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Between that super chat and the amount of money that my BattleBots reviews are making, I could pay rent this month. Oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I can't believe that. Happy early birthday. It's funny you say that, Justin. My birthday is in 2 days. That is a hell of a birthday gift. Thank you so much, man. Damn. I don't even know how to start this fight now. But we're going to start the fight and watch AI issues take place, I think. As both flail thwack bots go at each other. So the question is, do we go with who the game says won, or do we go with the judge's decision? I don't know. What a fight to join into. I know, it's a great time to join. Well, I'm going to write down the results of this fight, and then we're going to figure out if that's a judge's decision or not. Nobody wins. I mean, if it wasn't for the playoffs being on the line, that would be a good point. There's 2 points for this this match, or for this fight win. Or 1 if it's a judge's decision. Actually, no, it would be a TKO judge's decision, so it would be 2 points. 24 seconds. Thank you. Super heavyweight time after that nonsense. Okay. Man, my heart is still returning to normal after that super chat. So, in the super heavyweights, Kinetic Creatures has White Hot, an overhead bar spinner with a tremendous amount of defensive work around it. Sinister Creations has Rabid Fox with 4 vertical spinners that falls over a lot. Predictions for White Hot versus Rabid Fox, please. Good thing there are better SNS AI modes. Yes, we will have new AI modes for the sit and spinners next season. Don't worry about that. Oh my goodness. We're going to have better AI modes for the axes as well, because they have a tendency to just forget to drive the robot. Everybody in the chat thinking Rabid Fox is going to win this, so let's see if they are correct. Dadu correctly saying that White Hot isn't even white. And there's a big collision between Rabid Fox and the spikes on the front of White Hot. Rabid Fox taking the bars apart on the top of White Hot. White Hot not phased at all, and it's going to put Rabid Fox up on the wall with its tail and attack its wheels and try to push it over near the grinder. There's one of Rabid Fox's wheels off. And Rabid Fox with its tail stuck on the wall again, apparently. White Hot just ramming away now that its spinning bar has been taken apart. Rabid Fox now struggling to break a TKO count here, which it has done so. Now White Hot's just going to push it over to the other grinder. Spikes are breaking off of, I think, White Hot. Ooh, big ram. Yes, White Hot losing a lot of spikes here, but exercising full control over this fight in the process. And getting deep into Rabid Fox's weapon and holding it stationary. And Rabid Fox has lost its wheel to the grinder, trying to get free from a TKO count. So that is going to be it. 1:47 left on the clock. A TKO win for White Hot. Give me a second, babe. I'm trying to read numbers. 12,000 points of damage for White Hot in that one. And 13 for... Wow. There's a lot of damage in that fight. 73 seconds. Thank you. So that's 2 points for Kinetic for that one. If they won the other match, then that's a 5-4 loss. So Sinister's won the match. And some more super chats popped up during that, so let me read this off. Richie Rich Walker, £5 super chat just to say thanks. Your videos got me through my homelessness a few years ago. Oh man, that's rough. Robot Combat's my whole childhood. Thanks for your consistency. Hey man, I'm just trying to make people have a good time and entertain them and make people smile and laugh. I'm glad to help it. Glad to hear it helped you out, because that's some rough stuff to go through, homelessness, man. Glad to hear that you apparently have overcome that enough to be able to afford super chats. Midnight McLeod also with a $10 super chat. Hey, my birthday's on the 15th. Go Capricorn. I'm not much into Zodiac stuff, but yeah, absolutely. Go January, kids. Thank you for the $10 and the $5 super chats, you guys. I really appreciate it. We have one match left remaining in the stream. The stream's been going by pretty quick, actually, even with me getting distracted by super chats. And that is the big one that we've all been waiting for. Team Eeveeon versus the Moscow Mantines. Been a roller coaster of a stream, and it's not even from all the fights. No kidding. So, Team Eeveeon has Kurbnalob in the lightweights. It's a vertical spinner that spins downwards and traps the opponent against the wedge. The Moscow Mantines have Hailstorm 4, which is a front-hinged flipper. Predictions for Kurbnalob versus Hailstorm, please. Speaking of January kids, here comes the Mantines. Makes sense you're a Capricorn because you're the GOAT. Oh, don't say that. I am definitely not the greatest of all time. I might be one of the all-time, but not the greatest by a wide margin. Alright, lots of chat predicting Hailstorm. A few predicting Kurbnalob, who does have its stability issues. So let's see if the flipper will flip over the robot that falls over easily. Oh my goodness, what an attack from Kurbnalob to Hailstorm's wedge. Hailstorm went straight up Kurbnalob's wedge. And now they're just kind of locked together here. Hailstorm trying to get that weapon into play to take Kurbnalob's off. And it might do so here. Trying to push Kurbnalob back. And there goes the weapon off of Kurbnalob. So Kurbnalob getting neutered by Hailstorm with its quick thinking. And it's going to push Kurbnalob back into the grinder now. So look at this, Hailstorm taking advantage of its pushing to do a tremendous amount of damage to Kurbnalob here. Took off its weapon and a wheel with the grinder, and look at the damage that Kurbnalob has suffered. Just goes to show that having the better design does not necessarily mean that your robot is going to win. Hailstorm with some fantastic strategy here. Taking out the weapon, using the arena hazard, and now getting to the side of Kurbnalob and attacking that remaining wheel. Kurbnalob having to break a TKO count. And it is struggling to move. Somebody got counted out, and it was Kurbnalob who could not move, so Hailstorm takes the TKO. And that is a 2-point lead for the Moscow Mantines, who are looking to get into the playoffs with a good result here. Eeveeon is just ahead of them, I believe. Yeah, so I think it's only a 3-point difference between these two teams. So this could decide who gets the final playoff spots at the end of the regular season. We go to the middleweights. So, Team Eeveeon has Spinning Cage of Death in the middleweights, a 360-degree cage spinner that's not invertible. The Moscow Mantines have OMG It's Dollar Store Razor with the overhead claw and a rear flipping spike. Also not invertible. Predictions, please, for Spinning Cage of Death and OMG It's Dollar Store Razor. And while you guys are predicting, I see D3us, I know it's pronounced Dave's, with a $5 New Zealand dollar, I think that's New Zealand dollars, super chat. Hey Mike, long-time watcher here, thanks for making some robot combat content in the downtime. Favorite physics glitch so far? Thank you for the super chat, Deus. Yes, I'm glad I was able to do this while BattleBots was off of the air, and BattleBots is on the air now, but glad I was able to provide some kind of robot entertainment. My favorite physics glitch, I think, might be In the Robot Rampage League, it was when Omnipresence got chucked out of the ring last week and went spinning like a helicopter through the air. That was absolutely hilarious. I think my favorite one overall was from the Robot Rampage Patreon show. During the qualifying fights, I think it was Sludge got physics glitched straight through the floor in like 3 steps. So like you saw it like getting smushed further through the floor. It was hilarious. Haven't really had that in the league yet. Most of chat thinks Razor is going to win this one. Razor. So, let's see if OMG It's Dollar Store Razor can beat the Spinning Cage of Death. Spinning Cage of Death up to speed. Razor's gotten it stopped and broken off one of those spiked arms on the Spinning Cage and is attacking Spinning Cage of Death from above, but Spinning Cage of Death has taken the claw off of Razor, so now Razor with that rear-hinged flipper as its main weapon, and look at the damage that it's doing to Spinning Cage of Death, who's on control board hits and on its side, and that is a 3-point knockout in 28 seconds. That is not very Razor-like at all. A fast KO? Normally it takes Razor 5 minutes to get a KO. And the Mantines lead 5-0. Excuse me. So, heavyweight time. Team Eeveeon has Spike 6, a double front-hinged flipper. The Moscow Mantines have Tougher Than Nails, these 2 side-hinged kind of sledgehammer crusher weapons. Tougher Than Nails is invertible, so Spike 6's flipping is not going to hurt it that badly. What do we predict for Spike 6 versus Tougher Than Nails? Mantines for the playoffs. It's looking possible. They are currently leading the team that's ahead of them, so I think the Mantines have another relatively easy team next week. I forget who they have next week. So yeah, the Mantines absolutely could end up in 4th place and get the playoffs. Most of the chat thinks Spike 6 is going to win this one, so let's find out. Respect for whoever cleans the arena. No kidding. Especially after the super heavyweight fights. Tougher Than Nails not immediately going up the wedge, but Spike 6 attacking those kind of inner spikes and losing its flipping arm. Spike 6 has lost a flipping arm here, and it might lose this other one. The spike strips are kind of fragile as flipping arms. Oh my goodness, but it took an entire weapon right off of Tougher Than Nails, who's tripped over its own weapon. But Spike 6 has lost that flipping arm. No, it hasn't. There it is. And now it's lost it. So, Spike 6 with is now weaponless. Tougher Than Nails stuck on the broken flipping arm, apparently. It's now gotten free. And Spike 6 just trying to wedge it. Tougher Than Nails getting lost. Tougher Than Nails definitely having some drive issues here. I have no idea what's going on with it. Normally it has no trouble driving upside down, so I don't know what its problem is here. But Spike 6 is just ramming into it, and Tougher Than Nails is just gonna struggle. Those wheels might not be fully touching the floor. It's gonna drive in circles here. Well, we're about halfway through this fight, and it's hard to say who has the more damage caused in this one, because Spike 6 has lost its whole weapon. Tougher Than Nails has lost only half of its weapon. It's now knocked itself back upright and able to chase Spike 6 down. So now Tougher Than Nails trying to go on the offensive. Spike 6 is just going to carry it over to the wall. Just about a minute remaining here, as Tougher Than Nails gets a little bit lost. This could be, if this goes to a judge's decision, this could be big for the Mantines. Because Spike 6, I feel like, probably is going to win on control unless it drives itself into the grinder. But, oh, it took a wheel off of Tougher Than Nails now with those defensive spikes. So yeah, going to the judges, if it can last that long, Tougher Than Nails can prevent Eeveeon from getting any more than 1 point here, which would be huge for that final playoff spot. Spike 6 trying to do something with Tougher Than Nails here, and Tougher Than Nails just doing enough to remain mobile and make it to the end of the fight. And so, a judge's decision here in this very important playoff implication match. I feel like that one's going to fall for Spike 6, but that's only 1 point. And the Mantines have 5, so the Mantines have won the match because the most Eeveeon can get is another 3 points, and that would give them only 4. So, the Mantines have won the match, and now it is time for the Super Heavyweights to see who has the most points out of this. That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. And our final fight of the stream. Tougher Than Nails, oddly enough, just won the match. Yeah, isn't that odd? Tougher Than Nails losing a judge's decision stops the other team getting points and wins the match. Being defensive is useful in the Robot Rampage League. So, final fight of the stream. Blood Eagle, a 6-wheel drive rammer with a huge battering ram and defensive spikes on the sides, against Falcon Punch, a sit-and-spin robot with a bunch of fists of fury, I guess. So, predictions for Blood Eagle versus Falcon Punch. Two birds of prey, the Eagle and the Falcon, yes. Oddly enough, neither of them on the Kestrels. Moscow needs this. The other two teams ahead of Eeveeon all got 6 points. Yeah, we'll see what Falcon can do for them. The chat is kind of split, so let's see how it goes. Blood Eagle is fast, unless it's tripping over the floor. Falcon Punch, however, has a lot of weapon power here, but so does Blood Eagle. Blood Eagle is going to get Falcon Punch stopped and push it against the wall. Falcon Punch is going to try and get up to speed. Blood Eagle's having a lot of trouble with the floor. It keeps bouncing around quite a lot. Falcon Punch has to break a TKO count here, which it does by spinning to the side. One fist has come off of the Falcon. And now some of the spikes coming off of Blood Eagle's battering ram. Blood Eagle pushing Falcon Punch around and getting through those fists and to the Falcon's wheels. It's gotten Falcon Punch into the grinder now. That could do some important damage to those spinning fists. Now Blood Eagle attacking and then backing up to get Falcon Punch to stop spinning. Falcon Punch broke a count, but has yet to get out of that corner with the grinder. Oh no, Physics got angry. Physics got very angry. We get to restart that one. Ooh, Blood Eagle tripping over the floor once again. Falcon Punch getting pinned against the wall by Blood Eagle. That wide battering ram for Blood Eagle making it very easy to push Falcon Punch around, and one of the fists next to Falcon Punch's wheels have come off. And Blood Eagle doing a good job preventing Falcon Punch from getting up to speed. Falcon Punch not really with the drive power to get away from Blood Eagle, especially because Blood Eagle's so much faster. Now Blood Eagle gotten through to one of the wheels, and the wheel has come off. So now Falcon Punch losing one of its wheels, and its chassis is exposed on that side. Blood Eagle steadily working its way through Falcon Punch's weapons. One of the spikes off the side of Blood Eagle's battering ram has come off. So this is a very methodical fight here from Blood Eagle, just trying to wear Falcon Punch down. It is able to break a count. Blood Eagle, or Falcon Punch trying to backhand Blood Eagle here. Blood Eagle's going to get it stopped and push it over to the wall once again. Halfway through the time part of the fight, I see axe heads coming off of Blood Eagle here. Falcon Punch losing more fists, just kind of littering the ring. Oh, Blood Eagle's gotten a wheel into the grinder, so now Blood Eagle losing some of its drive power. Falcon Punch losing weapons against the defensive features of Blood Eagle. So now Blood Eagle can't even drive straight. It's really struggling for traction here. And Falcon Punch is just breaking pieces of Blood Eagle away. But Blood Eagle is getting those defensive features into Falcon Punch's chassis. It's down to just a few of these fists weapons left. Look at Blood Eagle losing these axe heads off of its battering ram here and struggling to move. Falcon Punch still spinning away. I think it's got one or two of these fists remaining. And more axe heads broken away from Blood Eagle. Blood Eagle is struggling to move at all here. But time is going to run out. And that is another judge's decision. Look at the damage totals on that. So, the Mantines have absolutely won that match with 5 points in the first two fights. And then 2 judges' decisions after that. So, possibly a 7-0 win, or 5-2, or somewhere in between. We don't know yet. But we have some judges' decisions for our judges to look at this this week. Well, there we have it. That is week 16 in the books, and there's just 1 week left for the Robot Rampage League's regular season before the playoffs. So, the playoffs are going to get really interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see who's locked into the playoffs here and who can still make their way in. I'm really excited to get all of these numbers in to the spreadsheet and get the numbers and everything together. So, if you want to follow the Robot Rampage League and see the stats and the results and everything that comes out, as well as vote for our fight of the week, you can follow the Robot Rampage League on Twitter at Robot Rampage. You can also follow the league in our Discord server. The link is in the description below. We have 2 channels for discussing the Robot Rampage League and showing the robots that you're building for Season 2. We post results and stats and all that kind of stuff there as well. So, thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I just see my brother has given me a $50 super chat as a birthday present. Thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate it. I'm going to I might spend that on robot parts. How about that? I can actually finally afford a robot part this year. I appreciate the super chats, everybody. Thank you so much. It's literally keeping the lights on here. I've been unemployed since March. And so YouTube has been my source of income, and you're making it possible for me to keep the lights on and keep doing this. Thank you all very much for that, and I appreciate that. Oh, speaking of robot parts, my brother and I have a real-life robotics team called Heavy Metal Robotics that you can follow on Facebook. And the Patreon money and the YouTube money helps fund that. So if you want to see our real-life robot projects, follow Heavy Metal Robotics on Facebook as well. Thank you all for being here for this stream. I appreciate it very much. I will leave you with the final schedule of the Robot Rampage League for the last week of the regular season next week. So I will see you all then.